What's up, YouTube? It is your girl Latrina, and I am back again today with another tarot spread read. And it looks like starting off with our first row, we do get the card of the coffin in the reverse, as well as the Seven Pentacles in reverse. Seven of Pentacles. And we also get the Temperance in the reverse. And we also get the Accelerated Motion card in the reverse, as well as the Financial and Spiritual Prosperity in the upright. And in that first row, it looks like someone has stopped something from ending, is trying to stop an end to something, is trying to prevent an ending from happening. Because whatever this Seven of Pentacles is dealing with a crop, something that they harvested, something that they did invest in. And it's also got them coming out as a coward in the reverse. And there may be a need for a nurse or a first responder, because it says there's no bridge without a place other side of it. So maybe they built something and they worked on something with this Seven of Pentacles, which does speak of something that was worked on, and then it's being examined. It's a crop that's being examined. And I'm assuming that, they want to prevent an end from something that they worked on. They want to prevent something from ending that they worked on. And something is coming to an end. Also, with that accelerated motion, something is happening. They're trying to slow something down. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to prevent something regarding something that they worked upon and that they were expecting to produce a harvest for them. And now that they're actually examining the crop, it did not produce any type of a yield. It did not yield any harvest, with that Seven of Pentacles coming out in the reverse. And also the Coward card as the message. Because in our second row, we have the Star in the reverse, as well as the False Person card in the reverse. And we also have the Lovers, which that Lovers talks about that choice. It's the card of choice. It lets me know that there was no wish fulfillment regarding this false person's choice. That they patiently planned, that they worked. The Seven of Pentacles and this patiently planning lets me know that they really did work upon something patiently. And they are showing up as, we got a double star, because this card gives a message of the star. Also, it says even a small star shines in the darkness. And it gives the message of check for vitals. Something didn't come to life regarding this wish fulfillment, and something that they prevented from somebody else's harvest. Maybe they were also trying to prevent a harvest from coming to someone else regarding someone else's crops. But there's also been they tried to prevent some accelerated motion. They tried to slow something down when it came to dealing with their crops and what they planted and harvested. And it didn't have the proper ingredients, It didn't come with the proper measurements. Something wasn't balancing right with that temperance in the reverse in that first row. And dealing with this false person, their wish fulfillment was to prevent someone's slow down or prevent something coming to an end regarding what they harvested, what they planted, the crops and the seeds that they did plant. And maybe, something was stolen because we have a thief showing up in the read on our third row. And we have judgment that has been called upon this thief. We got the judgment card showing up in the reverse, as well as the King of Wands in the reverse. Which tells me, it says every Sunday brings a week with it, and fall down 7 times and get up 8. So this was persistent, whatever was worked upon, whatever they were trying to harvest, and that was stolen. Something was stolen when we see this thief card come out. Something was taken that did not belong to this false person. And it may be this King of Wands. This King of Wands is showing up as a false person. No wish fulfillment to that harvest. No wish for the judgment has been called upon this thief. Called upon this thief. And like I said, this is regarding what he worked upon. Maybe while he was at work, he worked on something with this false person while he was at work. And it was a matter of overindulgence and no temperance. Like I said, there was no balance. And they didn't have the proper ingredients, the proper mixture or ingredients, because we do get this temperance coming out twice. Temperance comes out in the very first row, and then we also get it coming out in the 4th row with the message of no recovery. There will be no recovery from this situation that they worked upon. And that was actually not theirs, that they stole. Judgment has been called. There will be no recovery. And someone will be forced to move on. They are now forced to move on from a particular situation that they tried to harvest. They did not get any wish fulfillment. And they worked upon this with an overindulgence. They did something, that they could not recover from. Something that they did, and it was regarding someone's identity or their identification. There was no balance in that. There was no proper mixture, and there wasn't even the right ingredients. They didn't even have the right recipe on this whatever they overindulged on, and didn't have the right recipe or ingredients. Something that they did toil and labor, or they did it while they was at work. They're being forced to move on from this situation that was done while they were at work, or something that they did work upon. Someone's having to move on because the mixture with this temperance twice coming out in this spread, it didn't have the right ingredients. The cake didn't rise, the flour didn't set, something did not blend well, and it didn't come together. The ingredients did not mix together well. And we also have a mature woman coming out in the very last row with the 5 of Swords, which speaks of winning at all costs, something that is even dealing with conflict and someone wanting to win at all costs. And it must be this mature woman, with her coming out in this same exact row. They tried something that the world has come, her world has come crashing down on this conflict and this attempt to win something at all costs. The world is in the reverse, which means that, something has come crashing down. It's completely turned upside down is what happened. This situation has completely turned upside down. And someone has to even isolate themselves because of this situation. that they were being deception and envious. This, this was the driving force. This was the motor behind some of these actions that these judgments are being called upon. And it does have something to do with an attorney. So that lets me know that there is, maybe some courthouse activity involved in this situation. And then that show me your ID lets me know also that the law may be involved, that on this proper mixture with the not the right imbalance, no, the ingredients didn't mix well because judgment has come in on this thief as well as this false person, regarding what they did. They did try to harvest upon this. They tried to stop the motion. They tried to slow this thing down, and avoid, and they tried to prevent an end from coming to their crop, something that they actually was expecting a harvest out of, you know. And they didn't produce a crop because there was a coward involved in the situation. Someone was playing the role of a coward, you know. And also, they actually ended up needing a nurse and a first responder. This coffin came in to the point of them needing a nurse or some kind of medical assistance. Because this was regarding a material and spiritual prosperity. They was trying to steal somebody's material and spiritual prosperity, which I never even knew was possible. I mean, material, yeah, I can see people getting stolen from in that aspect, but when it comes to the spiritual realm, this is so very new to me. When someone can come in and steal someone's spiritual gifts, that's kind of new to me. But there was no wish fulfillment on this attempt to steal someone's. There was no wish fulfillment when they did try to steal someone's spiritual gifts and their even financial and spiritual gifts, because judgment has been called upon this situation. Dealing with this King of Wands in the reverse, you know, something that they did every week, week to week. And they even, if they even had any issues, like if they had any setbacks or any type of fall down, they get back up 8 times. He says fall down 7 and get back up 8. So they were relentless at these attempts, and this judgment card deals with the courthouse too. So this thief has landed himself upright into the court with this stolen spiritual gifts and stolen even financial and spiritual gifts. They've had to move on because the things didn't come together as they thought. Whatever that they worked upon with this, they overindulged, and it may have something to deal with this identity. This identity theft and fraud has been coming out every single read, and not just on my channel. It's identity theft and stuff has been going on across the whole entire YouTube community regarding this mature woman, this King of Wands that actually played a part. Something he was doing at work or something he was doing, that he worked hard upon. And it was an overindulgence in this matter. There will be no recovery.